And welcome back once again to The Verdict. Mick Cornett with Kent Myers. We are glad you're with us today. We're wrapping up the third of a three-part series today.
Yes, being a CEO. We first week talked about being a CEO in the military, the second week in private business, and this week in government. And we've got the CEO of the state of Oklahoma, Governor Brad Henry, going to join us and talk about how his leadership skills have been challenged and honed perhaps by 1.5 terms as governor.
And we'll get to it today, the governor on The Verdict.
A greener planet, cleaner air, a healthy economy, national security, a smaller deficit and a stronger dollar, green jobs, better jobs, energy independence, warmth and light and transportation. The reasons Chesapeake champions natural gas include your children and grandchildren, your community and its economy, its schools, roads, and charities. More hope for the future. More confidence in the direction of our nation. The need for energy that's clean, affordable, abundant, and very American. These are the reasons Chesapeake champions natural gas every day.
Wilsey, Meyer, Eatman, Tate. We're accountants. We do taxes, business valuations, estate planning, and consulting. And we're right here in Oklahoma, working with the owners of small and medium-sized businesses. Steve Wilsey and Stuart Meyer have the resources and the experience. Wilsey, Meyer, Eatman, Tate in Oklahoma City and Tulsa.
Welcome back to The Verdict. Mick Cornett with Kent Myers, and Kent's going to introduce today's special guest.
Welcome back, Governor Henry, for his 9th appearance on The Verdict. We're so glad to have you. Governor Henry, of course, you all know well. He's our 26th governor, now in the middle of serving his second term. Originally, of course, born and raised in Shawnee Schools, did his undergraduate and law work at the University of Oklahoma, practiced privately in the Shawnee area as a lawyer for a number of years, spent 10 years in the Senate, Oklahoma Senate, and was head of the Judiciary Committee, among other accolades that he acquired while he was in the Senate. Was elected governor 2 terms ago. He's now, as I said, in the middle of his second term, and we're sure pleased you join us for your 9th time.
Well, thank you very much, Kent, Mayor. It's great to be here. I forgot, I can't believe it's been 9 times. It's been a while since I've been on, though, so I'm really glad to be back.
Yeah, we were talking, you're on show 440, and we think you were on show 1 or 2. We can't decide which.
Right, I recall. It was one of the very first inaugural shows.
That's right.
Well, you've done a lot since then.
Well, we have. It's mind-boggling to think of all the guests that have sat in these chairs. Legislative session ended just a few months back, and now you're into this fiscal year. What's the current state of the state, if we can get something for this early fall?
Well, you know, Oklahoma, like every state in the country, is feeling the effects of the economic downturn. And so right now, even though we worked hard and we came together in a bipartisan fashion and put together a budget for the 2010 fiscal year, we're now having to re-examine that because our revenues are not at the level that we had hoped they would be. And so I've been working with the Speaker and the Pro Tem, and you know, one of the things I'm most proud of, I think, throughout my years as governor, is my ability to work with the legislative leadership, regardless of which party they are, Democrat, Republican, and try to bring everybody together in a bipartisan fashion. We've worked hard to do that, and I'm certainly working now with the current Speaker, Chris Benge, and Pro Tem of the Senate, Glenn Coffey, who are both Republicans, but both care very much about this state, and as do I. And so we're working to try to figure out how we're going to get through this fiscal year. The good news is, we're going to have some tough times. There's no question, and agencies are going to have to further tighten that financial belt. We're going to have to make additional cuts. We're going to have to probably look at tapping the rainy day fund before this economic storm is over. But the good news is we will get through it. We went through a very, very difficult time. Way back in 2003, my first year as governor, we faced the largest budget shortfall in our entire state's history at that time. This one looks like it may be even worse. But we got through that, and we protected priority areas. We made the tough decisions. We balanced the budget without raising taxes. We protected education and health care and other important areas like public safety. We'll get through this. It'll be tough, but we will get through it.
Let me ask you, this is, of course, the third show of our three-part series on being a chief executive officer, and our two prior shows involved the military and private industry. This, of course, involving state government, and you being the CEO of the state of Oklahoma. What kind of leadership traits do you have to call on to do just what you did, to get together with the two houses of our legislature headed up by opposing parties and get anything done? What kind of leadership do you have to exert to bring that about?
Well, I think probably the most important thing is common sense. I mean, sometimes you have people in public service who are really smart, but they just don't have the common sense necessary to work together. And, it's commonsensical to me that there are going to be different viewpoints around the table, and what we have to do is listen to every viewpoint and try to craft a solution that is the best thing for the people of the state of Oklahoma, bringing those ideas from every party, every corner of the leadership realm. And I don't know where I developed those skills. I think from my parents, frankly. And I think I do have an ability to sit down with just about anybody, regardless of their view, and work things out and work together and be commonsensical about our approach to building a better state.
It sounds like listening is one of the key elements.
Listening is absolutely key. You can't just walk into a room under crisis and dictate to everybody, here's how it's going to go. You have to listen to the opinions, the thoughts, the solutions from everyone, and then sort of craft a solution and make everybody feel like that they were a part of that solution. We've done that time and time again, whether it's in very difficult budget discussions, whether it's on an important piece of education legislation like the ACE legislation, whether it's in with respect to controversial things like the lottery or tribal gaming. I mean, we've brought everybody together. Just recently, we brought all of the stakeholders together and came up with an innovative solution to save the OSU Teaching Hospital in Tulsa. That solution had eluded leaders for years and years, but we were able to come together and do that. So, I think it takes discipline. I think it takes listening abilities. It takes common sense and a desire, a real desire to do what's right. I mean, so often you come into a crisis and several people have agendas, whether it's a political agenda or a financial agenda, and I try to see through all those agendas and get everybody on the agenda of doing what's right, what's best for the people of the state of Oklahoma. And it's hard for people to argue with that agenda. You can argue with the political agenda or the financial agenda, but you can't argue with the agenda that this is right for the people of the state of Oklahoma.
You still got quite a while yet to govern in your position.
About 16 months. Some people are trying to force me out already. I've got a while. Everybody's talking about, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And I keep saying, I've still got 16 months. I haven't even I haven't even thought about what I'm going to do afterwards.
Let me ask you this question, which is not based upon necessarily the time you depart, but how have you and your family, your wife and your daughters, enjoyed the time that you've spent in the governor's mansion and doing the things you've had to do?
Well, I will tell you, serving as governor of the state of Oklahoma, or any state for that matter, I think is one of the most difficult, challenging jobs that anyone could ever undertake. But at the same time, it is absolutely, without question, the best job in the world. I mean, I love this job. I get to serve the people of the state of Oklahoma every single day. It's just wonderful, and it's been the greatest honor of my life. I can tell you, I don't think I would have made it through it without my family. My wonderful wife, Kim, who, in my estimation, I'm a bit biased, has been the greatest first lady this state has ever had. I have 3 wonderful daughters who have stayed grounded. They've not let it go to their head, even though many times we're in that fishbowl of public scrutiny. They've done really well, and in fact, I think they've probably been over backwards to try to make sure that they don't get things because they are the daughter of the governor. And they meet new people. They don't tell them I'm the governor's daughter. They just say, I'm Leah Henry or Laney Henry or Bailey Henry, and go on down the road. But they've been just fabulous, and I think they've enjoyed every moment of it too. I mean, we are going to be sad to have to leave in about 16 months, but we'll get through it. And we're a very close-knit family, and we do many things together. And so whatever the next chapter is, we will approach it as a family.
We're going to take a break, and then we'll get in and we'll talk about those next 16 months. We're with Governor Henry on the verdict.
I remember walking into the academy and seeing the Highway Patrol core values, the professionalism, the courage, the bravery, integrity. And I realized that those are some of the same qualities that I was taught by my grandmother that the Chickasaw Nation valued in their people. We had received calls of heavy, heavy rain. I mean, it was the most unbelievable thing I've ever seen in my life. We had seen the white pickup truck with the 2 elderly people in it. There was no means of escape. And looking down at these people, you could see the terror in their eyes, and we knew we had to make a move, or these people would probably die. And I reached down and grabbed their arm to help pull them up. I remember thinking, these people are gonna live, this is gonna work out. I appreciate this citation, but that's what we do. That's what we're expected to do. I'm glad that I was able to carry on that tradition of bravery and courage under strife.
Home values are down in some states, but not in Oklahoma. Oklahoma's home values have increased 4.2% during the past 12 months. Unlike some states where home values have decreased as much as 20%. Good thing you're in Oklahoma. There may be real estate problems in some states, but there has never been a better time than now to buy or sell a home in Oklahoma. One of the most affordable states in the country, Oklahomans are buying and selling homes every day, and an Oklahoma Realtor can show you how. Good thing you're in Oklahoma.
That land next door was a mess. Take more than a lawnmower to revive that land. I heard the oil and natural gas people was cleaning up old oil sites, and it wouldn't cost us a plug nickel. Oh, yes, sir, it was quite a revival. The whole church showed up, want to make a playground for the kids. It sure is a blessing.
Welcome back to The Verdict. Mick Cornett and Kent Myers. Our guest is the Governor of Oklahoma, Brad Henry.
Governor, I know you've talked in the first segment about the economy, about the budget and the need for revenue or balancing the budget in these difficult times. But what other areas besides budgetary areas do you think you'd like to see addressed in the remaining 16 months?
There are a lot of very important areas. Of course, the budget will overshadow most everything that we do, and to the extent that our revenue collections don't increase and come in stronger, it limits what we can do in some areas. But I think I still have some real priorities in education. And, we've done so much in education, and I mean, we have raised teacher pay by the greatest amount in any gubernatorial term. We're very close to reaching the regional average in teacher pay in Oklahoma. We've created 2 new significant revenue streams for education. We developed the ACE initiative, the Achieving Classroom Excellence Initiative, which provides for accountability and quality control in the classroom, raises the academic standards bar, and we've really strengthened our early childhood education system to the point that Oklahoma has become noted in every circle around the country and the world, frankly, as having the best early childhood education system in the world, frankly.
I was speaking with the mayor of Denver last summer, and he inquired about early childhood education and where he should go for advice, and he was directed to talk to me and what's going on in Oklahoma, and I got him in touch with your office. So yeah, it's of natural prominence what we've done with early childhood education. I guess my question is, how long before early childhood education starts to sprinkle into the other aspects long term and eventually into higher ed?
Well, I think it's beginning to now. I mean, Georgetown and other nonpartisan entities like the National Institute for Early Education Research have come in and specifically looked at Oklahoma's educational system. And what they've found, and specifically our early educational system, what they found is Oklahoma does some things that virtually nobody else does. We limit class size in those pre-K educational settings. We require that we have a college degreed early childhood education specialist in each of those classrooms. We do some important things, and because it's not enough just to have an early educational experience, you have to have a quality early educational experience. And so what they found is they've followed now for the past 5 or 8 years, they've followed some of these students through the system, and they found that the kids who have that quality early educational experience actually perform better academically in later schooling, in grade school and secondary. They perform better academically, they read at a higher level. Those kids now, they're discovering, are more likely to graduate from high school and go to college, and obviously less likely then to end up in prison or a life of crime, to end up in a life of drugs or on social services. So, and the really exciting, I think, aspect is that the children who come from disadvantaged backgrounds, who have both parents that work, or maybe they're a single parent household, or they just don't have a lot of money, the ones who typically fall through the cracks later in the educational system are doing the best. They're showing the most improvement. So that really bodes well. And I think we're already seeing that, but certainly in 5 years, 10 years, a generation down the line, I mean, that will put Oklahoma at the forefront of so many other areas. I mean, one of the things we have to do is increase the number of college graduates in Oklahoma. And that's what we're doing by starting at those very earliest ages. And all the brain experts tell us we're doing it exactly right.
Last winter, I had conversations with the Speaker's office, the Senator Coffey's office, and your office about going forward and whether or not you all were going to tap into the rainy day fund. And you all decided not to. And fortunately, there were some federal stimulus dollars that helped fill the gap. But that decision, that group decision, and I know you were on board with that decision, seems really smart right now, because indeed, looking forward to this fiscal year for 2010 is as bad as we thought it might be. And I want to compliment you on that, but for the same time, talk about additional needs that might be necessary.
Well, let me first say that the effort to build up and preserve the rainy day fund has been an ongoing effort that I have made a priority since day one in office. When I came into office, as I mentioned earlier, we faced the largest budget shortfall in our state's history. At that time, about $700 million. And as a percentage of the budget, probably a greater shortfall than the current one, even though it may be approaching $800 million. And we had virtually no rainy day fund. It had been wiped out because of prior bad years. And I said, boy, I don't want another governor to ever have to face this situation. It was very, very difficult. And so when our revenues turned around in 04 and 05 and 06, I said, we're going to make maximum deposits in the rainy day fund. And we're limited. We can only deposit by constitutional mandate 10% of each year of the general revenue fund. But we built it up to about $600 million. We've got a greater, the largest rainy day fund in our state's history. And then we've worked hard, and I've worked with legislative leaders. We've made a decision not to tap it because we could see the economic storm on the horizon. And every year people want to raid the rainy day fund, and we've said no. And I think it was a wise decision, and now we're to the point to where I think it really is a rainy day, and we're going to have to look at utilizing some of that rainy day fund. We have other options, though, and you know, it will probably be a combination of things as we try to get through this year. Additional budget cuts, use of rainy day fund, possibly even utilizing, you know, we did another smart thing, and we didn't spend all of our federal stimulus dollars at once. We used half of them in the 2010 budget, and we saved half of those for the 2011 budget. So, you know, we have approximately another $600 million in federal stimulus dollars sitting there. We have some options, and we will get through this, and we'll do it with common sense and in a way that is right for Oklahoma.
Well, you have accomplished a lot in your in your 2.5 years, essentially.
2.5 terms.
2.5 terms.
No, 1.5 terms.
A long time.
Almost 2 terms.
All the time you've been there.
It is confusing, isn't it?
Pardon me. Do you look back and find anything that just shocked you, just surprised you completely, that it occurred or didn't occur?
And we got about 30 seconds left in the show.
Well, you know, I think every day there are things that shock me. People's brashness, you know, they're so brazen about things that they come in and want and think I can do. I'm surprised by that every day. But I think the thing that has really surprised me the most, I mean, I served in the Senate for 10 years. I've been around governors. I thought I knew how difficult and challenging and demanding this job was. I couldn't imagine how challenging it was. I mean, I have 5 people who work full-time on my schedule, so it's very, very difficult.
Well, Governor, thanks again for coming on The Verdict. Our time just elapsed so quickly, but
It did.
we appreciate it.
And thanks for
I hate to go.
for being such a good leader for the state.
Thank you very much.
And,
You guys are doing a great job.
Thank you very much, and we'll have you back on again as the last 16 months starts to unfold. Great. Kent and I'll have a final word after this.
It's time to meet the new people in power.
The people responsible for our energy future.
It's you.
It's me, all of us together.
From now on, we're the people in power.
OG&E will supply the power.
It's how we apply the power that counts.
We've got to use electricity smarter,
Wiser.
Cleaner.
Better.
So we've got to be informed,
Equipped.
prepared.
Committed.
From now on.
Look, nobody wants to waste energy. Nobody wants to build new power plants.
Nobody wants to pay more for electricity.
But nobody wants to give up their way of life.
We don't have to.
If we just use positive energy together.
I'll take advantage of off-peak hours.
That means cutting energy use from 1 to 7 every day.
Every day.
I'm going to sign up for more and more wind power.
We'll take advantage of the high-tech tools coming soon from OG&E.
OG&E can't do it alone.
It's you and OG&E working together.
Find dozens of ways you can help at OGE.com.
A positive energy future is in our power. Together.
Blankenship has stopped at the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play. Leading at 4th and 7 on the Tiger 46-yard line. 38 seconds on the clock. The Tigers have no choice but to go for it. Wiggins had to do the kicking. Here's the snap. And the kick is away.
The good life comes naturally to Tulsa, where nature's beauty is matched with an eye for aesthetics. A legacy of neighborhoods graced with lawns and landscaping and handsome homes. A place that seems to have patented an ideal lifestyle. Bank First is loyal to the quality of life Tulsa assures its citizens, to the priority placed on education, culture, and growth. Loyal to builders who transform raw land into residential charm. Developers who see opportunity and add vitality to Tulsa's economy. Bank First serves both enterprise and private lives that need a loyal partner. It's how we help nurture this city's very good life. Bank First. Loyal to Oklahoma. Loyal to you.
The Journal-Record is pleased to be a sponsor of The Verdict. The Journal-Record, since 1903, the best source of Oklahoma business news and legal information. And for almost 30 years, Oklahoma political, government, and business leaders have turned to the McCarville Report for accurate, reliable, inside information. Visit the McCarville Report online.
Welcome back to The Verdict, wrapping up a show which saw the 9th appearance of Governor Henry.
Yes, and the final in our three-part series on being a CEO, and this time CEO of the state of Oklahoma. And I think it goes without saying he's met some very difficult challenges as governor, and he, in cooperation with the legislature, regardless of what party's in control, have worked well together and have come up with some innovative solutions that I think will help us, particularly in this tight budgetary time.
A reminder, in a sense, someone was just telling me yesterday, a reminder that, recessions don't last forever. And when you think back, yes, he was governor during the last economic slowdown, and then some really good years in between when he mentioned the state putting together the Rainy Day Fund. And of course, with interest, that has really expanded itself, and where it can be a real benefit to the legislature going forward next year. But also, it'd be interesting a year from now to have him wrap up these 8 years in Oklahoma history, certainly an important time. And we have some website information to pass along. First of all, there's ways to get information to the governor or get information about the governor's office. That's at ok.gov. That's ok.gov. And of course, our website, theverdict.tv. For Kent, I'm Mick. We'll see you next week on The Verdict.
The preceding program was produced exclusively for the Cox Channel.